Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of an unusual small scale kit this week with Tamiya's 1/100th scale A-6A Intruder. Let's open it on up and take a look. So right out the gate with this set of parts, including our one of our wings as well as a side fuselage part. Unfortunately, the other wing did pop off the sprue. It's okay. We can see kit is of typical Tamiya quality. Very nicely done recessed panel lining. You don't have all the panel lines, at least as far as I can tell. But given that the small scale, you would not expect to see. Just it would be too fine or ultimately overscaled. Great contouring and correctness in the shape of the kit. Interesting to note, it does include the rear fuselage speed brake bay, which was on the aircraft from the initial production model up until the first couple early E models before it was replaced with a blank panel. Although on the actual aircraft, this feature was deactivated very quickly because of problems and replaced with a wingtip mounted speed brake, which you can see here. So this does give you the ability to fully build a correct early A. And interesting to note, if you wanted to rebuild this kit as an A model that transitioned to an E model, you just need to fill this section in and sand it smooth. Although you could also, in fact, interesting enough, there were some A's that were converted to E's that still had the initial perforated panel all the way to retirement. So having that as an option is a nice inclusion with this kit. Now, moving on, we do have this flat panel here, which will ultimately build up to our instrument panel. So you really don't get much detail there. So that is a bit of a downer. Continuing on, we got a few more odds in parts, including our tail and back of the canopy and inlet parts. Not a whole lot to say there. We also have our underside. Continuing on, if I move the other wing. Kit does also, if I can grab it, include a pair of metal ball bearings for use as nose weight, which is nice to have. Now, continuing on, we got our ordnance sprue, single bomb, some fuel tanks. Not a whole lot there, but we do have some ordnance included. We do have our two cockpit seats. Not a whole lot of detail, as this is small scale, so you're not going to see too much. The aforementioned speed brakes, geared bay doors, as well as our landing gear. Lastly, we have our two clear parts for the windscreen and canopy. Hopefully this will show up on camera, but detailing is very nicely done and is correct for this scale. Moving on to the decal sheet, we do have markings for a couple different aircraft. Unfortunately, mine appears to have yellowed with age, so that is something you need to watch out for. But overall, they did do a good job of representing all the markings you're going to need, or at least all the ones you would be able to realistically see in this scale. Moving on to the instructions. Kit is weirdly, they did the setup for this really strangely, but again, starts with building up the various innards and working outwards, as is typical with aircraft kits. Because it's small scale, there's not a whole lot to build up. And ultimately, once you get it closed up, you're pretty much done, other than just a couple odd and end parts. Only issue being here, these, again, were deactivated more or less as soon as they got to the fleet squadrons. So having them deployed in this manner is incorrect. So if you want to build a correct you would not have the speed brake out here. And fortunately, to do the speed brake correctly and cut up the wing I would argue is way too much work for this scale. So overall, it's definitely a pretty good kit. Now, it's not perfect, but it still does a great job of representing the subject matter. Plus, given its small size, you could theoretically, build a representative of every squadron that flew the early A without breaking the bank or taking forever to do. So yeah, that was a look at Tamiya's 1/100th scale A-6A Intruder. Not a typical scale you'd go with for aircraft, but definitely one to consider. So until next time.